Cultural appropriation is not a new phenomenon and has been rampant across the world. Maybe it is apt to say Western civilizations. It comes to surface in various forms and proportions. If neglected, will lead to digestion or bad portrayal of the victim culture. This phenomenon is called cultural hegemony, and it manifests in different forms. The people of victim cultures could be Hindus, Native Americans, Africans, etc. may manifest because of their intellectual laziness and powerless positions in the society they live in. Recently, a famous supermarket chain, Aldi Sud, started selling alcoholic beverage with the name of a sacred Hindu goddess Saraswati. Hindus consider goddess Saraswati sacred and beholder of knowledge and wisdom. Therefore, it is completely demeaning to name an alcoholic brand after Saraswati, and it has hurt the sentiments of Hindus all around the world. Hindus of Germany group have launched a campaign in this regard to highlight and fight against such an irresponsible action by Aldi Sud in the name of business. The whole episode is a testimony of cultural appropriation in microdosing. Let us examine the top 3 arguments why people belonging to victim culture ignore the phenomenon of cultural appropriation. Argument 1. Some people opine, why should this to be taken so seriously? Don't we have our own country where we have names like Venkateshwara Bar or firecrackers in the name of goddess Lakshmi? At the outset, it may seem true. However, this is a logical fallacy in this argument. How can Hindus think of naming a firecracker in the name of goddess Lakshmi or a bar in the name of God? Now, this is where the intent is important. The intent and faith need to be understood here. The person selling the firecracker in the name of Lakshmi worships Mahalakshmi, or the person selling the alcohol also keep the idol of Lord Venkateshwara in his or her shop, because the owner believes that his fortune doubles when he uses such divine names in his or her business. But sometimes, to prevent this from becoming the new norm, good Samaritans wake up and stand against it, because they understand that the tree of fallacies need to be uprooted so that the next generation is able to identify and distinguish between faith and contrivance. In 2017, the state Andhra Pradesh in Bharat came up with a government order against the usage of names of deities on bars and wine shops. On March 2017 in Maharashtra and November 2018 in Karnataka, the Ministry of State and Excise initiated the draft law to prevent usage of the names of gods and goddesses. Even if, for once, we could think that the producers indeed intended to do good and respected goddess Saraswati, then why did they not research a bit about the emotions attached to it? Is their PR and brand management so weak to only concentrate on the name without understanding the sentiment? Argument 2. This has something to do with religion, and I am far away from it. Cultural appropriation has nothing to do with religion. It is to strategically target and hit the minority in a smart and calculated manner. Neither were the pagans aware that their once rich history of earth religion would be swept away by Christianity when their intellectual philosopher Hypatia was murdered by the Christian men. Nor were the Africans aware that their African religions like Yoruba, Zulu, Lugbo would be soon be minorities after the colonization of Christians and Islam. One need to rise above the religion and see it from the lens of righteousness and dharma and stand up for any wrongdoing against a particular faith or authenticity. Argument 3. It is a good way in which our culture is getting promoted. At least this way our names of goddess will be read by all. No Hindu in his or her wildest dreams would have thought until the end of the World War II that they may not be able to worship the sacred symbol of their religion in Europe in future. What was a Heckan course came to be called as swastika, though a careful, orchestrated campaign by people belonging to vested interests. Thus, a sacred symbol of Hinduism has become a prey to cultural hegemony in the West. Today, the same symbol has been source of contention playing the parlays of Hindu phobic in the West. It is hard for an average person to identify the thin line where freedom of expression stops and cultural hegemony starts. This is one of the weaknesses of most of the non-Abrahamic faiths and indigenous cultures. The result is obvious and obnoxious in the Western societies, including Germany. Some of the examples are people wearing a Native American war bonnet and fake braids imitating Africans. Therefore, it is important to be aware of nuances and fallacies when it comes to cultural appropriation. Following are the success updates in removing Saraswati name to an alcoholic brand. One of the organizations called Hindus in Germany launched a campaign protesting the misuse of goddess Saraswati in Germany. In return, some good Samaritans contacted Aldi and the respective distributor in this regard. Both Aldi and Pabst plus Richard were quick to apologize and have mentioned that they will reconsider before branding the next batch. However, they haven't mentioned the status of how many bottles have been already manufactured in public domain. Also, they have clearly abstained from taking those bottles from their shelves. Aldi UK has confirmed that this product will not be up for sale in their country. CGI in Frankfurt has initiated the talks with Aldi Hessen to understand and make them aware of the trademark and legal aspects associated with Indian culture. So, therefore, it is necessary to raise one's voice against the issues like cultural appropriation in order to establish harmony in any multicultural society. Dhanyavad from Satyawar.